Hey, what's going on, guys? Nick here with my spoiler-free review for Alien Covenant. Now, I got to see the film Friday night, May 5th at the 20th Century Fox studio lot in Los Angeles with a bunch of other members from different outlets, and obviously I've been covering this film for a few months now, and I've been very hyped up for it, talking about it on various podcasts, breaking down basically every TV spot and trailer they've put out, and things of that nature, and obviously I've been, mostly looking forward to the follow-up to Prometheus ever since that film was released. It just feels like it's been so long getting to this point. Now, my general first impressions walking out of the theater was that I definitely felt much more satisfied walking out of this film than I did with Prometheus. I wasn't the biggest fan of Prometheus. This film, it almost feels like they tried to market it as a return to the Alien universe, but when you actually see it, it feels much more Prometheus-y in terms of the tone and sort of the story that's being continued upon. Now, obviously the crew of the Covenant ship, the colony vessel, is on a mission, and they find the uncharted paradise, which turns out to be the engineer's home planet, and they also discover the sole survivor of the Prometheus expedition, David. Now, things go wrong, and several members of the crew die, and they have all these alien creatures running around, and that's the gist of the story. Now, a lot of people just based off that synopsis are going to say, well, it's something that we've seen a billion times before, and certainly something we've seen in all four of the Alien films. Now, I actually didn't mind that too much. I really enjoyed the characters in this film. I thought they were all fairly unique and interesting. Probably my favorites were honestly Danny McBride's Tennessee and the new android Walter, and I also really did enjoy David, although there is a bit to talk about him, possibly in like a future spoiler review, because if I talk about his character in this film, a lot of it is delving into spoilers. Catherine Waterston also gave a good performance as Daniels. I felt that she could have been more like intense and more commanding of the screen and her presence, because she played the character as having this kind of vulnerability and innocence, and I honestly thought that she should have been a little bit harder edged. I mean, obviously the comparisons would have gone to Ripley and that sort of thing, but even Shaw posed more of a threat than Daniels did, and in my personal opinion. No knock to Catherine Waterston, I think that was just the way the character was written, and overall, like I said, I did enjoy her performance. She did have some great character beats and great emotional moments. Now, moving on to the alien creatures themselves, obviously in this film we get the return of the classic xenomorph, or a distant relative of it, and we also get the new aliens called the neomorphs, which are white in coloration, and they look a lot more fleshy, and they're spawned by the black goose spores, like this airborne sort of spore that goes into your nose or ear in the film. Those aliens are very cool to look at. I think that the neomorphs in particular surprised me a lot. I really enjoyed the way they operated. They are very much different than the xenomorphs themselves, and the way that they were utilized in the story was great. I thought that the first opening scene when you get to see them, the backburster sequence and the wheat field attack, I thought that was fantastic. I thought that was probably one of the highlights of the film for me. It was just a great sequence that left you on the edge of your seat. And in terms of the tone of this film and the overall visual style of the cinematography and how it was paced, I thought it was fairly good. It looked amazing, as with most of released films. Tonally, it was a very dark film, probably the darkest of the Alien films, because it just had this very grim kind of feeling about it, finding this uncharted paradise, and at first it's all nice and everything, and then they start to unravel the dark mystery behind it. What happened to the engineers? Why is there this giant sea of corpses? What's David up to? The creepy aliens. It was a very dark, unrelenting film, very brutal and gory, and I think that lends itself actually good to it overall. In terms of the pacing, I felt that the opening first act was good. Once they landed on the planet, though, itself, the film moved very quickly, and it didn't really hold up till the end. I thought overall the pacing of the film was just too fast, that there wasn't enough time to breathe with the characters in certain scenes. So overall, my final thoughts on the film, spoiler free of course, I very much enjoyed it. I do have some issues with it. I think that pacing wise there were some issues, some character motivations and character decisions I definitely had issues with, which I'll talk about in my spoilers review, and then we'll probably do a spoiler podcast discussion about it with Mr. H Reviews and other YouTubers. But I think there were definitely flaws in this film that that could have been fixed or that might have been overlooked, and it's a shame because I think that personally, for someone like me who's just such a fan of the franchise and who's been analyzing basically every second of footage that we've gotten from the film, expectations are sky high, and ultimately when you have films like that, like big genre films, it's very hard to meet those expectations because it's almost like you make the film in your head, like you already have an idea of what you want the film to be and what you think the story will be. And then ultimately when you see it, it's much different, and that kind of sours your opinion on it. But overall, if I had to rate it objectively as a film, I would give it a 7 out of 10. Good film, definitely highly recommend seeing it. As a hardcore Alien fanboy, I would probably say it's about an 8 out of 10. But objectively speaking, as a film, there are flaws in it, and I think that it wasn't a perfect, masterpiece. It definitely stands above Prometheus. Obviously, both of the Alien vs. Predator films, Alien Resurrection, is actually better than Alien 3. I would probably place it behind Alien and Aliens, I think, honestly, in the grand scheme of things in the Alien franchise. So I definitely recommend you guys check out Alien Covenant when it hits theaters May 12th in the UK, and in North America, May 19th. And if you guys actually have seen the film, leave your thoughts on it down in the comment section below. Thank you guys again for watching. My name is Nick, and for more on Alien Covenant and the Alien and Predator universe, stick with the Hybrid Network.